and welcome to Prudent Media. My name is Sachin Chatte and on this program we take a look at the latest releases. Today we will take a look at two new movies. One is Tu Ya Main and the other is Vishal Bharadwaj's O Romeo. First, let's take a look at O Romeo. Vishal Bharadwaj returns to the big screen after Pataka, although his last outing was Khufia, which released on Netflix. O Romeo has ambition and style, but at nearly 3 hours, it lacks the substance required to sustain that runtime and offers little that feels new. विशाल भारद्वाज ने एडेप्टेशंस बहुत अच्छे किए हैं, चाहे वो शेक्सपियर की कहानियां हो या इवन तलवार, फॉर विच ही वन द नेशनल अवार्ड. ही डिडंट डायरेक्ट दैट फिल्म दो. O Romeo is inspired by the life of Hussein Ustara, chronicled in the book Mafia Queens of Mumbai by Hussein Zaidi. However, this film has all the trappings of a stereotypical Bollywood potboiler with no real novelty. पहले सीन से आखिरी सीन तक सब कुछ आपने देखा हुआ है पहले किसी और फिल्म में. अब क्लाइमैक्स का सीन देख लीजिए. द हीरो एंड हीरोइन guns in hand and backs to each other mow down an army of men in slow motion shootout straight out of films that we have seen before. But पहले से शुरू करते हैं. Shahid Kapoor plays Ustara, a hitman who uses a straight razor as his weapon of choice and has racked up more than a few kills in his lifetime. More on the violence a little later. He sports a cowboy hat despite living on a barge docked along in the Mumbai shoreline. His henchmen ensure a steady stream of women to cater to his libido. Essentially, he is like Kabir Singh, but make it murderous instead of medical. In an early scene, Inspector Khan, played by Nana Patekar, assigns him the task of eliminating a film personality. Francis Coppola Mario Puzo के साथ बैठ के स्क्रिप्ट लिख रहा है, he says, and Ustara arrives at an Art Deco theatre armed with a generous supply of Ustaras, straight razors. Throats are slit, cheeks are slashed and skulls are sliced open, all to the tune of Dhak Dhak Karne Laga with Madhuri Dixit dancing on the screen. Our soon-to-be Romeo single-handedly dispatches what feels like hundreds of uniformed men in that glorious single-screen theatre. The sequence makes it clear realism has left the building. Even if you are shot and hurled from a moving train into a river, you know that he will survive. One day, a young woman named Afsha, played by Tripti Dimri, turns up at his barge inquiring about his fees. उसे 4 लोगों को उड़ाना है, उसकी एक hit list है. He initially laughs it off, but predictably, he becomes interested in her. The real issue, however, is the pacing in the film. Some scenes stretch endlessly, while others wrap up in record time. गाने भी एकदम randomly आ जाते हैं, which serve no narrative purpose. When Ustara inducts Afsha into this world, they play carom, और carom खेलते-खेलते गाना शुरू हो जाता है. Afsha has a backstory. Her husband, played by Vikrant Messi, was killed by his employers, and she seeks revenge. ये बात एक लाइन में बोली जा सकती थी कि मेरे पति के वो खूनी है, इसलिए मैं उन्हें मारना चाहती हूँ. Instead, we are treated to an extended flashback in which a classical music-loving police inspector, played by singer Rahul Deshpande, and his associates rather dramatically shorten her husband's life expectancy. The chief antagonist is Jalal, played by Avinash Tiwari, who runs a crime syndicate from Spain. He enjoys bullfighting, लेकिन वो bullfighting करते-करते उन्हें हमेशा phone call आ जाता है बीच में. Tamanna Bhatia plays Rabia, a recluse who spends her time painting canvases that would interest her therapist. The protagonist's arc, from womanizer to man hopelessly in love, unfolds on expected lines. Despite having vast resources at his disposal, he somehow cannot track down Afsha as she disappears of her own accord. The reasons for this are about as convincing as a politician's apology. The characters lack consistency in both motive and action, and these inconsistencies are neither explained nor justified. एक सीन ऐसा भी है जहां अफशा वो किसी की बंदूक चुरा लेती है और उसको बंदूक चलाना नहीं आता है, लेकिन वो चलाने की कोशिश करती है और एक आदमी को मारने की कोशिश करती है. Now that doesn't sound very logical. The violence is so excessive that the filmmaker felt compelled to defend it on social media. There is so much hatred, violence and injustice in the society, he said, that I feel powerless against it. ऐसा विशाल भारद्वाज ने फेसबुक पे लिखा था कि इसमें बहुत ज्यादा वायलेंस है, तो उन्हें अपना गुस्सा निकालना था तो उन्होंने फिल्म में निकाल दिया. Well, that's fair enough. Choosing to show violence explicitly rather than merely imply it is a deliberate creative decision. Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill also featured a revenge-driven woman and stylized brutality, but there it served a cohesive narrative purpose. Here, it just feels like shock value. The background score works overtime with nearly every scene drenched in music. जहाँ तक कास्ट का सवाल है, they all perform competently, although most of them have been there, done that. O Romeo then has 3 hours of razors, romance, and slow motion shootouts. It's stylish, yes, but substance, not so much. I'm going to go with 2 out of 5 stars for Vishal Bharadwaj's new film called O Romeo. And now let's take a look at Tu Ya Main. Inspired by the Thai film The Pool, Tu Ya Main shifts between Mumbai and a 20 feet deep pool somewhere along the Goa-Mumbai highway. The story of a couple trapped in an empty pool with a crocodile for company offers a solid premise for a survival thriller. As is often the case, the original is crisp and to the point, while this remake, directed by Vijay Nambiar, carries additional baggage. The Thai film ran for 90 minutes, this one stretches nearly an hour longer. The crocodile meanwhile takes its own sweet time before claiming center stage. The first half is devoted to romance, the second half to the reptile. Maruti, also known as Flo, played by Adarsh Gaurav, he hails from Nalasopara and is a rapper from a modest background with dreams to make it big. His immediate aspiration, which is very Gen Z these days, is to gain more social media followers. At the other end of the spectrum is Avni, who is known as Miss Vanity, played by Shania Kapoor. She boasts over 20 million followers and lives in a house which has a private swimming pool. Maruti, also known as Flo, performs at an event where he meets Avni. They collaborate and a romance blossoms, much to the disapproval of her manager, sister and brother-in-law, who are overly concerned about the class divide. After all, he is a gully boy. Considerable time is spent exploring the ups and downs of their relationship, mostly ups, until Avni discovers that her life is about to change. They decide to take a break और वो गोवा जाने की तैयारी करते हैं मोटर बाइक पे. When the bike breaks down, a kind inspector played by Shrikant Yadav escorts them to a highway resort that happens to have the aforementioned deep pool. Earlier, we see the reptile make a brief appearance. वो crocodile मगरमच्छ निकलता है, कुछ लोगों को मार के चला जाता है, and that's a nod to deforestation and unchecked construction driving wildlife from its natural habitat. In this case, it finds its way to the resort pool just as the water from the pool is drained, leaving the couple stranded inside the pool. Strangely, the resort appears deserted except for one lone caretaker who has an impressively waterproof mobile phone. वो मोबाइल फोन पानी में कितनी बार गिर जाता है लेकिन फिर भी चलते रहता है. Well, his mobile phone may be impressive, but it is not impressive enough to save him once the crocodile strikes. As the couple battles the crocodile, the cracks in their relationship surface, with each blaming the other for their predicament. After spending so long establishing the premise, the film cannot wrap things up quickly. Subduing the crocodile takes considerable time. मगर तुम न होते ये कह सकते हैं हम. Once we are finally in the pool, there is genuine tension and entertainment, but getting there requires patience as the rich girl poor boy romance unfolds at length. Some silliness and clumsiness from the characters is expected to prolong the survival drama, and that's acceptable, as long as the story itself doesn't feel stuck like the protagonist. विजय नाम्बियार्स फॉन्डनेस फॉर म्यूजिक इज एविडेंट, चाहे वो शैतान हो जिसमें खोया खोया चांद पे उन्होंने एक शूटआउट का सीन शूट किया था, एंड हियर द साउंड ट्रैक फीचर्स ओल्ड सॉन्ग्स लाइक उदित नारायण्स तुम ही हमारी मंजिल माय लव जो यारा दिलदारा में था, और किशोर कुमार की आवाज़ में चोरी चोरी यू जब जो पाप की दुनिया में था. ये गाने भी इस फिल्म में दिखाए गए हैं. Adarsh Gaurav slips comfortably into his role. Whether rapping or confronting a crocodile, he remains at ease. The chemistry he shares with Shania Kapoor is a definite plus. For those willing to wade through the slow build, this is a quirky survival thriller with a dash of modern day romance. I'm going to go with 2.5 out of 5 stars for this crocodile survival film called Tum Ya Main. Well, that's what I thought of the two films released this week. Do let us know what you think, and I'll be back with you next week with more movie reviews. Till then, it's goodbye from me.